Have you ever woken up and suddenly felt overwhelmed to the point of tears, not because of something specific, but because everything just feels like too much? That's what Selena Gomez once shared about her mornings. It wasn't just the pain. From her lupus, what she was dealing with went beyond her illness. These were emotional scars, old wounds that never truly healed and kept opening up all over again. One of the things that reopened those wounds was a rumor. But not just any rumor, this one felt personal and deeply hurtful. For years, many believed Selena and Justin Bieber broke up because of work, distance, or timing. But behind the scenes, a different story started making rounds. People close to them began to say that Justin once mentioned he had a type. According to them, it was someone tall, thin, and model-like, the kind of woman who could walk a runway effortlessly. So when Justin married Hailey Baldwin, who fit that exact image, it hit hard for Selena. It made people talk. It made her question herself. Selena never matched that so-called ideal look, and she didn't need to. But when she was with Justin, the internet never gave her a break. She was constantly under a microscope. Her looks, her weight, her clothes, everything was picked apart by strangers online. At the same time, she was battling a serious disease, getting chemotherapy and recovering from a kidney transplant that saved her life. In the middle of all that chaos, she was still trying to love someone who, knowingly or not, made her feel like she needed to change just to be accepted. It's heartbreaking to imagine trying to stay strong through all of that, only to end up questioning if you needed to look like a model just to be loved. And then the final hit came. Justin got married, just months after their breakup, to a model, blonde, tall, thin, successful in the fashion world. While there's nothing wrong with Hailey herself, the timing and the message it sent couldn't have hurt more. For Selena, it wasn't about Hailey, it was about what it all seemed to confirm. Selena never responded publicly. She didn't post vague tweets or speak out in interviews. But people around her said she was crushed. It wasn't just heartbreak, it was a deep crack in her confidence. Over time, she admitted that the relationship had left her feeling less than enough. The internet bullying, the nonstop comparisons, the cruel comments, they started to chip away at how she saw herself. She found herself standing in front of the mirror, wondering if maybe the haters were right. Maybe she really wasn't the kind of girl someone stays with forever. That thought stayed with her, no matter how hard she tried to shake it, and then came another wave of pain. After going through a kidney transplant surgery that literally saved her life, Selena decided to do something normal again. She posted a photo of herself in a bikini. For her, it was a moment of courage, a way of telling herself she was still here, still living, still beautiful despite the scars and the weight changes. But instead of love or support, the internet attacked. People didn't see her bravery. They didn't see a woman healing. They just saw a body that didn't match their unrealistic ideas of beauty, and they judged her for it. They called her fat, accused her of giving up, and insulted her without even thinking about what she'd just survived. She wasn't trying to prove anything. She was simply trying to feel human again, to accept her new body, the one that carried her through so much pain. But the world didn't care about her struggle. It only cared about appearances. It didn't matter that she had gone through serious health problems or emotional breakdowns. People still felt the need to tear her down. What most people missed was that she was still trying to hold herself together emotionally and physically. Even after being beaten down by both her illness and the world's opinions, she was doing her best to keep moving. Every day was a challenge. Every step forward took effort, but she kept trying to remind herself that she didn't need to look a certain way to be worthy of love or respect. What made it harder was the silence she kept. She didn't go online to fight back. She didn't release long statements explaining her pain. She carried it quietly, as so many people do, trying to stay strong while fighting off self-doubt, heartbreak, and endless pressure from people who didn't know her but had opinions anyway. She never needed to be a model. She was already someone's role models, talented, kind. But in the middle of all the noise, even she forgot that for a while. Even she questioned if she was enough, just as she was. And that's the hardest part, not just healing from a breakup or illness, but healing from the idea that you're somehow not good enough for love or for the world. In one of her interviews, Selena Gomez said something that stuck with a lot of people. "I even started to believe the awful things people were saying." That short sentence carried the weight of everything she had gone through. Imagine fighting for your life, recovering from major surgeries, taking powerful medications, and still trying to stay mentally strong, only to be met with people tearing you apart online. Not about your strength or your courage, but about how your body looked after all of that. They didn't see the pain or the healing. They just saw someone who didn't fit their perfect image anymore. Her body changed because it had to. She wasn't eating poorly or giving up. She was fighting every day just to stay alive, to function, to heal. Yet when people looked at her, they didn't say, wow, she's strong. They said, she's different now, and not in a kind way. They focused on the way her clothes fit, how her face looked, how she didn't match the picture-perfect celebrity image anymore, just when it seemed like things were calming down. Another wave of online noise started. Selena made a big appearance. At the Golden Globes, she looked healthy, happy, and confident. Her smile lit up the event, and it was one of those moments that reminded fans why they loved her in the first place. She looked proud to be herself again, even after everything. But not even 24 hours later, a TikTok from Hailey Bieber went viral. In the clip, Hailey and her friends used an audio that said, "I'm not saying she deserved it, but God's timing is always right. The timing was strange. Too close to be a coincidence, too bold to ignore." Many fans instantly felt like it was aimed at Selena, specifically her look at the Globes. Her dress, her weight, her entire appearance, whether it was meant as a joke or not. People were quick to call it shady. They weren't convinced it was just random fun with friends. The video spread like wildfire. Fans defended Selena fiercely. Comments flooded social media, calling out Hailey for what seemed like a subtle jab. She later deleted the video and said it wasn't meant for anyone, that it was just for laughs. But the apology didn't land well because the damage was already done. It wasn't about that one post, it was about a long line of passive-aggressive posts. Little digs and timing that never felt like a coincidence. And it didn't end there. More behind-the-scenes stories came out. People who claimed to be close to the situation said Justin and Hailey were in touch even when Justin was still with Selena. Some fans were convinced that Hailey was never just a new relationship. She had always been part of the picture. There were even claims that Selena found old messages between the two and asked Justin about them. And when she asked about his type, he didn't defend her, he didn't reassure her. He either said nothing or agreed, and that silence said everything. That moment crushed her. It was more than just a breakup. It was the realization that she may have been replaced. Long before the relationship even ended, not just by anyone, but by someone who looked exactly like the image she had always been told she wasn't. Hailey fit the tall, slim, polished high-fashion mold. And that contrast made Selena question herself in the deepest way possible too. Make things worse, instead of sympathy, the media started calling Selena too emotional. Articles labeled her dramatic. She was judged for being vulnerable, for speaking openly about her mental health, for crying in public. The same emotions that made her real and relatable were now used against her. She wasn't praised for her honesty, she was mocked for it. But even with all that pressure, all the pain, Selena didn't fight back the way many expected. She didn't slam anyone online. She didn't throw shade or make indirect posts. Her response was simple: be kind to everyone. That became her message even when others weren't kind to her. That quiet strength became her way forward. She stopped trying to fit someone else's mold. She stopped changing herself to be loved. She stopped waiting for approval from people who made her feel small. Slowly but surely, she started rebuilding herself. Not to prove anything to the world, but to feel whole again for her own sake. She wasn't chasing some storybook romance anymore. She was choosing peace. And now, for the first time in years, it looks like she's found it. Her relationship with Benny Blanco isn't about public validation. It's not about flashy headlines. It's about comfort, safety, and real happiness. When she's with him, fans notice a different kind of glow. It's not the glow of makeup or lighting. It's the kind that comes from healing, from finally accepting yourself fully, flaws and all. You can see it in the way she acts now. Whether she's posting silly videos showing her natural face without filters, or laughing without holding back, Selena looks free. She's not waiting for someone to love her the right way. She's already chosen to love herself. Maybe Justin's comment about his type wasn't just hurtful. Maybe it was the final push she needed to stop trying to fit someone else's dream and finally chase her own. Maybe it was the moment everything changed, not because she broke, but because she decided she deserved better. So, what do you think? Was that moment the final straw for ROR, the beginning of her becoming the strongest version of herself? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you're keeping up with everything happening in her journey, make sure you like, subscribe, and tap the bell. Because if there's one thing we've learned, it's that Selena's story is far from finished.